Intrusive thoughts. You are standing on the edge of a quiet bridge. The water below moves slowly. Nothing is wrong. Then, without warning, your mind whispers something impossible. What if I jumped? You don't want to jump. The thought scares you. So why did your own brain create it? And if your mind can produce a thought that feels completely unlike you, how many other strange things is it doing every single day without you noticing? The truth is that your brain is not trying to tell you who you are. Most of the time, it is simply testing possibilities. It creates tiny simulations of reality, even the frightening ones, because its job is to prepare for danger before danger appears. Psychologists call these intrusive thoughts. Almost everyone experiences them. The difference is not who has them. The difference is how seriously we take them. The moment you realize that a random thought is not the same as a hidden desire, something surprising happens. You stop fearing your own mind. Jamais vu. But strange thoughts are only the beginning, because sometimes your brain doesn't just create ideas. Sometimes it creates feelings that seem to come from nowhere. Imagine walking into your own house late at night. You have lived there for years. Every room is familiar. Yet for one strange second, everything feels unfamiliar, almost like you're visiting someone else's home. It disappears as quickly as it arrived. That strange moment has fascinated scientists for decades. Sometimes the brain briefly struggles to connect what your eyes are seeing with the feeling of familiarity. The place hasn't changed, your brain's processing has. Déjà vu. Something even stranger can happen. Instead of a familiar place feeling unfamiliar, a completely new place can suddenly feel like you've already lived that exact moment before. You're talking to someone, they say a sentence, the sunlight falls in exactly the same way, and suddenly your mind whispers, I have been here before. You know it cannot be true, but it feels absolutely real. This is déjà vu. Researchers still debate exactly why it happens. One idea is that information reaches different memory systems at slightly different times. Your brain accidentally treats the present like a memory. For a brief moment, the present feels like the past. And if your brain can mistake the present for a memory, it can also do the opposite. Doorway effect. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly forgotten why you came? You stop, look around, try to remember. Nothing. Then, the moment you walk back out, the answer suddenly returns. This is called the doorway effect. Your brain naturally separates experiences into small chapters. Crossing into a new space acts like turning the page of a book. The old goal becomes less active while the brain prepares for whatever comes next. Your memory didn't disappear. Your brain simply changed the chapter. Selective attention. Memory is not the only thing your mind quietly edits. Sometimes it changes what you notice. Look around the room you're in right now. There are probably dozens of objects you've completely ignored, not because they're invisible, because your brain decided they weren't important. Every second, your eyes send an enormous amount of information. Your brain throws almost all of it away. If it didn't, even making breakfast would feel overwhelming. This invisible filter is called selective attention. It lets you focus on one conversation in a crowded room while ignoring hundreds of other sounds. It helps you survive, but it also means you're never experiencing the whole world. You're experiencing the tiny version your brain decided to show you, which raises an uncomfortable question. If your brain chooses what you notice, how much of reality are you missing every single day? And what happens when that filter starts looking for something specific? Frequency illusion. Maybe you've decided to buy a blue car. Suddenly, blue cars seem to appear everywhere. Or someone mentions a rare word you've never heard. The next day, it somehow appears 3 more times. It feels impossible, almost magical. But it isn't. The world didn't suddenly change. Your attention did. This is often called the frequency illusion. Once your brain labels something as important, it begins pulling it out of the endless stream of information around you. The object was always there. You simply weren't noticing it. The strange part is realizing how much your reality depends on what your brain chooses to notice. And sometimes your brain notices something that isn't even there. Predictive processing. You're home alone. You hear someone call your name. You answer, silence. No one is there. Or your phone vibrates in your pocket. You quickly reach for it. Nothing. No message, no vibration. Many people experience moments like these. Our brains are prediction machines. Instead of waiting for information, they constantly guess what is about to happen. Most of the time, those predictions are helpful. Occasionally, they are wrong. A random sound becomes your name. Small muscle movement feels exactly like a phone vibration. Your brain would rather make a few harmless mistakes than miss something important. Because throughout human history, reacting to something that wasn't there was usually less dangerous than ignoring something that was. But predictions don't stop with sounds or feelings. Sometimes they shape the decisions you haven't even made yet. Choice supportive bias. Imagine choosing between two identical shirts. You finally pick one. A few minutes later, something strange happens. You begin convincing yourself it was obviously the better choice. Maybe the color looks richer. Maybe the fabric feels softer. Your brain quietly starts protecting your decision. Psychologists call this choice supportive bias. Once we choose something, our minds naturally begin collecting reasons why we were right. Not because we're dishonest, because uncertainty is uncomfortable. The brain prefers a story where our decisions make sense, which means many of the opinions we confidently hold today may have been built after the choice, not before it. And perhaps the strangest story your brain tells is the one about you, narrative self. Think about who you were 5 years ago. Your hobbies were different. Your fears were different. Your dreams were different. Even many of the cells inside your body have changed over time. Yet somehow, you still feel like the same person. Neuroscientists believe this feeling of a continuous self is something the brain actively creates. It stitches together memories, emotions, and experiences into one ongoing story. Without that story, life would feel confusing and disconnected. But it also means the you inside your head is not a single fixed thing. It is a story that is constantly being updated. Every conversation, every mistake, every success, every memory you keep or forget. So when an intrusive thought suddenly appears, or a place feels strangely familiar, or your phone seems to vibrate when it never did, or you forget why you entered a room, you're not watching your brain fail. You're watching one of the most complex systems in the known universe doing exactly what it evolved to do: predict, filter, protect, adapt. The mind is not a perfect recording device. It is an endless storyteller, constantly editing reality so you can survive inside it. And perhaps the strangest thought every human has is believing that every thought inside their mind truly belongs to them. Because sometimes, the voice inside your head isn't revealing who you are. It's simply showing you how extraordinary your brain really is.